When he gets to Jerusalem finally, I like his style. I like how he handles his business. He gets to Jerusalem. When he gets to Jerusalem, he doesn't go right into Jerusalem, bust up in there. Man, I'm here to rebuild the wall. You know, I need y'all to get in line, get in order. I need so many of this, and I need so many of that. I need y'all to do this. He doesn't do any of that. If you read here in this, in the chapter number 2, starting with verse number 11, he was there 3 days before he even said anything. But you've got to know, God is impeccable in his timing. He's impeccable in his timing. He has never been late. He has always been on time. Even though you had to go to the ER and they had to put you in the hospital 3 days, guess what? You still came out. His time was impeccable because you still came out. You understand what I'm saying? God's timing is impeccable. And it says, then I rose in the night, I and a few men with me. You know, some people want to, when they go out places, they want to take a harem with them. They want to have 100 folk with them. They just want a big following. They want everybody to see what I'm doing. You understand what I'm saying? They want them the largest following, and they want to have the largest auxiliary. You understand what I'm saying? When they travel and they go preach, they want bus loads and carloads of folk. This man Nehemiah was real cool with it. He took a few of his men with him because everybody will understand what you're doing. And everybody ain't gonna be in agreement with what you're doing. And then you got more, if he would have took them out there, he would have they would have become fearful. They would have tried to talk him out of doing what he needed to do. He had to find somebody amongst them that he knew he could trust and that was gonna walk out there with him and wasn't gonna try to say that. You understand what I'm saying? That was on the same page with him. So they said he rose in the middle of the night, went out there, and was out there surveying the land. I've got to read this part to you. Verse number 14. Then I went on to the fountain gate, and we're going to talk about all these gates and stuff next week, and to the king's pool. But there was no room for the animal under me to pass. We're going to stop right there. He was out surveying, and he came to a place, and there was no room for his donkey with him to pass through. He was not on a horse, he was on a donkey. A donkey is smaller than a horse, and you would think that a donkey could pass through. They didn't ride horses back in those days, only if they were going to war. Because a horse meant war. A donkey was ridden by kings. And so he gets out there, and he comes to a place by the fountain gate that he could no longer pass. He could not pass through on the donkey. So guess what he had to do? He had to dismount that donkey, and he had to get down, and he had to walk through the rubble. He had to walk through the ruins, and he had to walk through the destruction. He had to walk through the mess. He had to walk through the destruction. Come on, somebody. He couldn't ride through it. I want you to understand something, that is prophesying and speaking to every one of us in here. There are some places you can ride into, but God said, no, this is where you get off, and you got to walk among it. You got to walk through sickness, but you'll eventually come out. You got to walk that down. All right. Y'all didn't hear me yet. Y'all didn't hear me yet. Y'all did not hear what I said. So I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say this one more time. Say it again. I really want y'all to understand this part right here. Nehemiah comes to the fountain gate, he enters, and he's riding around on his donkey. Yes. And he gets there, and he comes to a place that he could no longer ride the donkey because it was impassable. There was too much rubbish, there was too much stuff, and so that means he had to abandon. All right now. What he do? He had to abandon what he rolled in on. He had to abandon which was familiar. He had to abandon that which made it easy. He had to abandon that which was comfortable. He had to abandon that, and he had to get down, and he had to put his foot in the dirt. He had to put his foot in the ruins. He had to put his foot in the destruction of Jerusalem. Look at somebody and tell them you want to get off the donkey now. You got to walk through this thing now. There is no more, come on, tell them there is no more riding. Riding on grandma's prayers, riding on the intercessor's prayers, riding on somebody else's prayers. Come on, somebody. This time, you got to get off the donkey and you got to get down in the midst of the destruction. You got to get down in the midst of the sickness. You got to get down in the midst of the heartache. You got to get down in the midst of the pain. Tell somebody, walk in it. Tell them it's ordained. It's an ordained place. And you got to walk in the midst of that loneliness. It's ordained for you to walk in it. Somebody ain't got it yet. Somebody ain't got it yet. Everybody that got it, come on, put your hands together and give God glory. You got to walk in it. I'm abandoning everything I know. Yes, sir. I got to get out the boat now. Come on, somebody. He did what Peter did. He had to take faith and say, I got to sit down amongst this. You know what? He probably didn't know what was in amongst all that rubble. You're out in the middle of the desert. Too many of us now, we done got comfortable. And God has said, no, you got to walk through this. I'm telling you, I've had this encounter with God now. There are just some things, God said, no, you can't just ride through this one. I used to let you ride through. I just used to, you know, when you ride through, you just looking. You don't stay. You just looking at everybody else saying, pull me, look at them. Oh, I feel so bad for them. I'm just riding. Just riding. Look. You know how y'all do when y'all go down by the way? When the police has been pulled somebody over, you ride through and you're low riding or whatever you're doing, and you're looking and you say, oh, what just happened to them? No, God said, no. You got to stop this car now. You got to get out that car hole and you got to put your feet in the street. This time you're going to have to ride. They're going to be riding by you looking up. What's going on with him? What's going on with her? What's going on in their life? Something's going on in their life. How did they get to that point? You gotta walk amongst some stuff. And it ain't gonna be comfortable. And it ain't gonna be easy. But if you keep reading Nehemiah, he picked his donkey up later, but he had to walk through it. You ain't gonna walk through the valley of the shadow. You gotta go through it. Hold on, y'all. I'm almost done. All right. Then I went to finally gave the king's pool, and there was no room for the animal under me to pass. So I went up in the night by the valley. When he got off the donkey, listen what it said. He walked and he went up by the valley. Up by the valley. He went up by the valley. Yes, yes. Oh, you can be on the top and still be going through the valley. Don't you let nobody fool you because they think they're on the mountain high. Baby, you can be in the valley and you can be at the highest point in your life, but still be in the valley. When he stepped out, now when he got to walking, why would they say that he was walking or he went through the valley, went up to the valley? Later on over the Psalms, what did it say? The 23rd Psalm, yea, though I walk through the... God lines all his stuff up.
Yes, he does.
And viewed the wall. Then I turned back and entered by the valley gate, and so returned. And the officials did not know where I had gone or what I had done. Some of your friends going to be missing you. Some of your partners going to be missing you.